Did I tell y'all about the time that the Mormon church told me I'd be lucky to find a husband because of the color of my skin? I don't talk about this a lot, but when I was 9 years old, I was baptized Mormon. Don't ask me why, and don't ask me if I remember any of that shit, because it was something that was forced upon me by my mother. I had a favorite elder. His name was Elder Rinsbacher, and he would come over with 3 other elders, which was Elder Wood, and I can't remember the other elder's name because I didn't really care for him. And if you think my asshole level now is like a little much, you should have seen me when I was a kid putting Alka-Seltzer in my clothes when I got in the baptism pool. So at this time, this was in the early 90s, I want to say 93, 94, and I was living in Greenville, Mississippi, the Mississippi Delta. And one of the things they did was once you reached the age of 12 or 13, they put all the girls in a group and you did like these special Bible studies and special crafting days and stuff together. Now there was a trip that was only for the girls in that age group. And I happened to be 1 year younger, but you know, my mom, yeah, they didn't know that. We knew. We all were loaded up on a church van and we were taking almost 4.5 hours to God knows where to this huge compound for Mormons in this huge church. Now, when we got there, there were hundreds of girls our ages. Well, I was young, but they didn't know I was like a year too young to be there. But there were hundreds of us there. There were maybe 5 girls of color, of any color. So being in Mississippi, a bitch was nervous. I wasn't too young to understand what could possibly happen in that scenario. They had a huge gym with basketball courts, volleyball nets. It was really nice. We had a great meal. We got to fellowship with other girls. We got to play sports. We got to do some crafting. And then it was time for everybody to split off into individual groups to go to these different seminars. In these seminars, there was no more than 20 girls to a room. That's how big this church was. And these meetings were very intimate, meaning the person speaking to us was sitting in a chair and we were in chairs around them. Kind of like a sobriety group or some shit. And this man, this elder, lead elder, was telling every single girl what he saw in them until he got to the black girl, this black girl. And his tone changed a little bit with me because I'm the only pepper in the salt shaker. And his exact words were, "You may have a harder time finding a suitable husband, but the church will make sure we appoint you a good one that will make sure you're taken care of." Master, the freedom bell been fucking wrong. He then followed up with saying, "I know because you're a different color than the rest of the young girls in the room, you'll have a harder time finding a husband to accept you as the person you are." And my response to him was, what if I want a wife? Seems like that might be easier. I was put out of the circle. I had to go and sit in the lobby. Now, I had some of the sisters were kind of, "I'm disappointed in your actions and you should never speak to the lead elder that way." Fuck him and fuck you too. On the way back home, some of the sisters were still on the bus talking about my actions. I had my headphones on listening to Selena because a bitty bitty bum bum. I don't care. When I saw my dad the next morning, I told him every goddamn thing and he was livid. He was pissed because why would you subject my daughter to some bullshit? My dad, of course, was not with the damn Mormon bullshit. He was definitely like, that's a cult.